What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts for the Real Fan Review. Today with me, we got my man Sanj.
Good evening, everybody. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you.
We got my brother B.
What's up, everybody?
And we got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
Yes, the four of us are back. Just like the four people we're going to talk about today, plus what we think is going to happen this week when we see Ghostbusters Afterlife. Oh,
wait, does that
so
make
excited.
me like Winston Zeddemore or something?
That was funny. I wanted to ask if you guys identified with any one of these guys, but we'll get to that, man.
Oh,
So
okay,
listen,
all right.
we're gonna prep you guys for Ghostbusters Afterlife. There wasn't really a lot of news this week besides the Disney Plus Day, where they kind of premiered a couple of things. Not really, because it was like not a real trailer, but small little tidbits for Moon Knight, for Hawkeye, and for Miss Marvel and She-Hulk. So you guys could watch those trailers. It was nothing really crazy. It was nice to see these trailers, but nothing crazy as far as movie connection wise. So today we're just going to get you guys ready for Ghostbusters Afterlife, which comes out this Thursday. And with this Ghostbusters prep, we're going to talk about Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2. We'll kind of give a little nod to the Ghostbusters that came out with the female version of the Ghostbusters. I don't think they're really part of this continuity, right, Al?
No, not at all.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So we won't talk much about it. We'll acknowledge it.
We already did it. It's done.
So listen, I'm going to start it off with a little hot take, and I want to see where you guys go with this. After watching Ghostbusters 1 and Part 2 somewhat, I gave up after a little bit. I want to know, Sanj, why is this franchise so big with one hit movie?
The theme song.
The theme song.
The theme song. The
It's
theme
so
song
much
is awesome.
fun.
It's like, I mean, look, it has elements of it, right? You know, if it has a great theme song, you know, I mean, look, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Hal Ramis, and Ernie Hudson. Just the chemistry that they had as a group, like it was pure slapstick. You know, it was comedy. It wasn't anything serious. It was a good time. It was just a good time. They weren't trying to. There was no message or anything. You know, no. It was a great time, great comedy, and something completely out of this world. It's Ghostbusters. You know, they're just a bunch of guys running around Manhattan, hunting ghosts. You know.
Gotcha. Al, how about for you, man? I mean, like I said, watching this movie, I just watched Ghostbusters 1 maybe last night. I started to watch Ghostbusters 2, but I kind of fell asleep right in the middle of it because
Bingo!
yeah, man,
Why out
watching
of
that.
you came? One of the best lines in the movie. Why out of you came?
Seeing that forehead come out of the painting, I was like, oh God. But for you, B, Al, what was your take? I mean, because really, it's Ghostbusters. Then we had a little wait for Ghostbusters 2 because they weren't going to make it. It was supposed to be a one-off.
Yeah.
When Ghostbusters 2 came out, that was listen. Even on the screen when you watch it, it says the Tomato Rotten score for the first one was 97%. For this one, for the Part 2, it was 57%.
Oof.
Right? And then you got to think about it. I remember like some of the things that made me love it so much was the cartoon that came out, the cartoon series.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and even that is just like, but why is Ghostbusters so popular, Al?
I think just because it encapsulated so much of the 80s, like just, you know, over the top comedy. You have a lot of the A-list comedians at the time at their prime. I mean, you have Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd. Oh God, who's the guy that played Stingman?
Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis. Yeah, like I mean, you have all these guys in one movie. Then you add Sigourney Weaver and Rick
Moranis.
Rick Moranis.
Moranis, yeah.
Come on, like, and you add any kind of a decent script, which they did, and a story that, you know, given the sense that they're dealing with ghosts in a comedic sense.
Slimer.
Yeah, come on. They had all the ingredients for a great movie. All the actors held up their end in terms of acting out the movie and the comedic timing and so forth. So for what it was in the 80s, that movie really did a great job of representing the time. And I think that's what helped it last the time and last until today. Now, people watch that movie and it takes them back to that time period, and they just remember everything that they were going through. Maybe, hopefully, they were going through a good time, and they just associate it with that movie.
Yeah. And how about for you, B? You're always our resident youngest Avenger on the team here. And Sandra are Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America. And here
because
comes...
I'm fat?
We could all be Thor, Sanj. I mean, Brandon, you're over there playing Wiccan. So, like... What's your thoughts on Ghostbusters, man? Why does Ghostbusters resonate with you, Brandon? Talk to me.
Because it's fun. Like, like the first Ghostbusters is nothing but fun. Like, okay, we got Zool, right? We got Slimer. We have Gozer the Gozerian, who is our Stay Puft giant ghost. Like a goddamn, right? It is a straight up marshmallow.
Choose the form. The form has been chosen, and then you see the big Stay Puft mark.
Right, like the fact that was the overarching villain of the movie just tells you everything you need to know about Ghostbusters. Like there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, man.
And then Dan Aykroyd's face when they look at him like Venkman. No, he's not Venkman. He's
Did you think about anything?
My mind would blank.
Yeah, he's there.
My mind was blank.
And then he says it with a straight face. That's the comedy effect. Like with a straight face, he's like, "I'm sorry, guys. All I could think about was the Stay Puft Marshmallow."
No, he said one may have crept in. And then, there's freaking oh my God, not Spangler.
Venkman?
What's Bill Murray's character?
Venkman
goes, Ray, what crept in? He was so mad.
And it's the way he said it. Ray, it's the accusatory tone and everything about how he says it. Look, think about it. So you asked why we love this franchise so much, right? We've been talking about it for maybe 3-4 minutes, and we've been laughing the whole time while we're talking. We're having fun just talking about the movies, right? And you're wondering why we're so hyped, and why it's lasted so long. It was just awesome because, like B said, it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. So, like, before we get into like the things of the first one that we like and the things about the second one, it's kind of interesting. Like, again, because the first one was like, even rewatching the first one, it's a classic. Look at the lines that we know, the characters that we know, and again with the second one, it kind of left us off like, oh, and you can kind of see why they didn't go for a third. Almost, I know they wanted to do a third, but I think Bill Murray refused to do a third movie. I think they couldn't get the script right between between Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis there, because they're the ones who wrote it. But it just seemed like, I don't know, man, kind of like it just went away for a little bit. And then when they tried to bring it back with the female version of Ghostbusters, we all gave it an attempt, but it wasn't there. There was just something a little bit missing, something off about it and everything. And now here we are, 2021, we're getting it back to the continuity, right? We're getting back to where we left off with the canon of where we left off on part 2 there. So with part 2, is there anything about part 2 that kind of stood out for you guys as far as like a reason to continue loving the Ghostbusters, or was it just kind of like almost like the Fast and Furious franchise, just seeing good friends again, so you're kind of like, we'll let that slide?
It's like that it's like that family thing. You brought up Fast and Furious, and it's literally family. Like it's in the second movie, they are the group, and they have their issues down the road with Bill Murray's character and what was it, Dana Barrett, right? Was Sigourney Weaver's character. So like they had the issues. Obviously, that was the whole theme of that movie because of her son and XYZ. But like, they were a family and they acted like a family, and it was very apparent on screen. And so while 2 wasn't great, I remember enjoying it because like it was like watching my friends have fun and do stupid shit. Like,
Right. Right. How about for you, Al?
Yeah, no, it was the same thing. You know, it was one of those movies. You know, there was going to have to be a sequel. You were waiting for it to come out, and when it finally came out, you were almost going to basically accept whatever it was. You know, and whether it was good, bad, you just were going to be there for the ride. Almost like you said. I'm glad you used that as the example. The Fast and Furious. We're coming to every showing, no matter how good it looks.
Ride or die to
bad.
the end.
Yeah, man. And how about for you, son? Same thing about part two?
You know, I like part two. But again, I didn't go in expecting anything nuts, anything. I didn't expect it to be anything other than I get to see the Ghostbusters go hunt ghosts and act stupid. You know what I mean? So and that was the movie. I really liked the ending where they used the Statue of Liberty and then. You remember they had back then, you know, we were playing Nintendo back then, so the Nintendo product placement, the Nintendo little gamepad and everything, and that's what they used to control the Statue of Liberty walking through New York and whatever. And then, you know, they had Jackie Wilson's song playing, you know, your love keeps lifting me higher. You know, and that like it was just a great scene at the end. I loved it.
Higher and higher.
Right. Even though like the movie wasn't as a movie, it probably wasn't that great. It didn't really have a good story or anything like that, but it just still had those elements that you could think back and like, oh man, I like this and I like that, and it had those moments in it too. So, and again, it's the Ghostbusters, you know?
Right, absolutely, man. So let's get right into the recap there of part one and part two. I mean, just thinking about the movie and just again, I just rewatched part one, and to think about how classic it still is, to make me still laugh, still smile, and actually appreciate a lot more of the movie. Like, you know, Sanj just mentioned the music. There's a couple of songs in part one that I was like, I'm gonna download that. Like, there's the scene where Peck comes in as the EPA to shut down.
You can't even say his name without laughing because you knew what the joke was. You know, you still know what the joke is, right?
Pencil neck. He has no dick. So he came from the EPA to shut down the containment unit, and it caused that big explosion. And I always remembered the song, but it didn't hit me until now, because I remember the song was always cool. But for some reason, last night when I watched it, man, it was like, please,
Yeah,
as the thing is going, I believe it's magic, magic. I was like, oh, this thing is hitting different. And not only that, but like even the ending, again, the music, the song Ghostbusters is crazy. And just, I don't know, man, brought back a lot of good memories, a lot of fun times from, you know, back when I was younger to see those things, you know. And like Al, the Sanj was just saying about the song there. I mean, Al, tell me, man, do you remember the music from this stuff?
Honestly, other than like Sanj said, the theme song, I don't remember the songs that played throughout the movie until you watch the movie. But like you said, you know, music is one of the things that will take you to the time you remember that song having an impact. And yeah, like I said, for me, this movie was all about just taking me back to then. But no, for some reason, the songs, other than the theme song, I don't recall one song from its soundtrack. I just remember the movie itself, which to me is a good sign for a movie when you actually can remember the movie. Because there's some movies where you don't remember the movie, but you're like, yo, but that had a great soundtrack. Whereas with me, the soundtrack is part of the movie, but it blended into the movie for me. So it's not really standing out for me. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's all good. And Sanj, how about you, man? I mean, you just rewatched these movies, so you probably have a fresh memory of all the sounds and the songs there.
I have a fresh memory of Ghostbusters at all times, whether I've watched the movie yesterday or I haven't watched it for 3 years. And I don't think I go 3 years without watching at least one of the Ghostbusters movies. To me, it's one of those movies that if you're lucky enough to have like a day where you just cycling through the channels and you see the Ghostbusters there, it's one of those movies you don't pass that movie. You put it on, even if you think you're gonna look for something else, you know, while it's on, you know. But the music stands out. I mean, Ray Parker Jr., who did the theme, he makes so much money at Halloween time. Just
every Halloween.
Yeah, every Halloween. I mean, because his song is on repeat on radio stations, and he is booked on like every morning show to like play the song live. So like he still makes a ton of money off of the Ghostbusters theme. And then and then there's songs in it, like, you know, the song, I can't remember the name of it, but the one where like please, and then you know your love is lifting me higher and stuff like that. It's just great. Yeah, it's just great.
Yeah, and how about for you, Brandon, man? Any of the music or the soundtrack of any of these things actually hit something for you, or just you feel a certain way about those?
Oh, I would say, honestly, like, just like Sanjay said, the Ghostbusters theme song itself is just like a tribute to Halloween at this point. Like, you don't go to the month of October without hearing Ghostbusters on any radio station, on any playlist. Like, it has to play. And every time it plays, you yell Ghostbusters, like you can't not do it.
You know,
right?
You know what it's equivalent to, B? You know what's equivalent? You know, like how as soon as Thanksgiving is over and Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas" hits,
but it's better. But we like this. No diss to Mariah. No diss to Mariah.
I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to lie.
I worked retail for a long time.
I love Mariah's song, and all Christmas season, and it plays nonstop. And every time it hits the same way for me every single time.
I worked retail way too long. It's the #1 retail radio hit. But like Ghostbusters, like if you really think about that theme song, think about the instruments in the song. How terrible the instrumentation is. Like whatever is that keyboard synthesizer go
it's so 80s. It is so 80s.
The synthesized trumpet, the canned piano, the canned percussion, all of those canned instruments, and it's a hit. It is incredible. It's great. So like if you think about the audio production of that song is horrendous. But you know what? Incredible.
It's Ray Parker, man. It's the personality that comes out when he starts. When there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call?
It's like
Ghostbusters.
It's like the guy who did the rent is too damn high. Like just like that.
and one of the lines is an invisible man sleeping in your bed. Who can you call? Ghostbusters.
This rent is too damn high.
You guys are crazy, man. I love it, man. But let's get right into the beginning of this, man. Put the Ghostbusters there. So, I mean, that opening scene is a classic opening scene. When you see it, you know it. It's just insane with the whole library. I think I've actually been to that library once or twice. And
New York Public.
What is it, Brendan?
New York Public Library.
Oh, man. I want to see that lion, man. But just really cool and interesting. I mean, you got to think about it for that time, what they did. You know what I mean? The 80s with you'll see the visual effects really bad in this movie, but of course, this the 80s, like mid 80s, right?
Great.
They didn't have HD back then, so it's like, what happens with these visual effects from the time before HD, right? They would play it on the technology that was available, right, for us, or the viewing public, and they would be like, all right, what does it look like? And it looked just fine on it, but with HD, then you can see like the clippings and the this and that because of the new technology. So they had no idea it would look like that in HD, right. 20, 30 years later.
Yeah, but some of it still look good. I mean, even like the books going back and forth between the shelves looks amazing. Even though you could tell, I mean, can't tell, but it's on a string kind of thing. But the one thing that I never knew, or maybe I'm hoping one of you guys know, is the index card trick. Like, how did they pull that thing off? You remember the index card drawer comes out, and then they just all start flying out, all the index cards from the library. Just nuts, man.
Yeah. There is something loaded inside the drawer that just springs up or springs open, and each card just like flips out in sequence.
Yeah, that part looked fantastic. The ghost
either that or they put each one of those cards on a string, and they had like a million people back there pulling strings in sequence.
Go, 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 go.
Damn it, Barry.
But yeah, man, and we find these guys as paranormal psychologists or scientists, and they're there doing their thing. You see Bill Murray or his character Venkman, Dr. Peter Venkman, you being all weird with the he was electrocuting someone for getting the cards wrong.
Well, no, that guy was getting it right, and he's electrocuting him. And the girl, the attractive woman, was getting everything wrong, and he was like totally like playing it up, trying to hit on her. So Peter Venkman would not make it in today's world. He would be sent down to at the very least, he'd be sent down to HR.
Yeah, man. A lot of the stuff that he was doing was really creepy, man.
Welcome to the 80s.
That's crazy, man. But like their whole, like, even when they first go there, you get Ray, Peter, and Egon to go to the library to look at stuff, and they're walking around looking stuff, and it's just their interaction is just hilarious. It's like they see the ghost, and they're like, so someone's got to say something to her. And they just look at one of them.
It was Ray.
It's always Ray. So it's just so much fun stuff, man. And again, like I said, from the beginning to the end, the movie's just hysterical and awesome, man. So, I mean, Brandon, tell me, man, let's talk about the first movie only right now. Mm-hmm. Tell me some of the scenes that mean something to you, or that you'll never forget, or funny, or amazing. What's one of your favorite scenes in Ghostbusters Part 1?
I think my favorite scene, honestly, is it goes with the special effects, is the scene when the ghosts start to take over New York City as Gozer is coming up, and now all the ghosts are overrunning Manhattan. Just the scene alone of how all of that took place, like with was it like a demi-dog, that ghost dog, right? With all of that happening and all the ghosts taking over and just kind of interacting with everybody in the city, I thought that was super cool, and I feel like that scene still holds up. And just like the thought of that scene before Stay Puft and the Statue of Liberty, just the scene of the ghost actually about New York City causing havoc, I thought was super cool.
Yeah, man. How about for you, Al? Any scenes from Ghostbusters that stands out to you the most, or something that you always remember, don't forget?
Okay, it's got to be the scene when they get called in to get Slimer. The two parts. First, when they see him in the hallway, and they're messing with him, and then they agitate him. He comes and he slimes Ray, and he goes, "Oh, he's just laying there."
Yeah. He slides Venkman.
Yeah. And then just when they're in the hall, the dining room, and they're destroying the place. And then you have Venkman. He goes up to the table and he tries to do the trick with the tablecloth. Oh, forget it. And then they're destroying. And then he comes out. They finally catch Slimer, and they come out and they say the line, "We came, we saw it, we kicked its ass." And and that's like one of the lines from the movie that I mean, what is it? 37 years since that movie came out, and I still remember that scene of them walking out the door and saying that, and just going through that scene of the dining room, and you have the hotel manager outside the door, like trying to reassure it that everything's okay. Meanwhile, a freaking car bomb just sounded like it blew up in the other side of the door.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Yeah, man. That's what I say. It's like those scenes just make you laugh now, and you're just picturing it in your head.
Absolutely.
And at the end of that scene, how they give the hotel manager the bill. Also,
He goes, "We won't pay this. That's outrageous."
Yo, dude, he said $5,000 in the '85. $5,000.
Bro, they just captured a ghost.
Yeah,
they
man.
gotta keep the lights on. That's a big ass building.
I will say one of the cool scenes from the female-led Ghostbusters movie was when they were looking for a building and they were looking for a spot, and they went to the firehouse and they're like, Are you kidding? We can't afford that. And then they made it like a joke, like, no way we're gonna be able to afford that in Manhattan, even at that time, right?
Crazy, man. Saj, man, tell me about a scene in the movie there from the first one that stands out to you, man, that you remember, can't forget.
So when Rick Moranis' character was possessed right? And he became the Keymaster. And then Sigourney Weaver's character was possessed, and like he shows up at her apartment, and she's like, "Are you the Keymaster?" And he's like, "Yes." And of course, then they had to like have sex to release Dozer or whatever, because she was the gatekeeper, right? Like the double entendre there was incredible. I love that scene.
Yeah, that was funny because what's funny, son? You just mentioned that. I never realized that until I watched it last night.
Childhood ruined. Childhood ruined.
Dude, because when I was watching it, you know what I mean, and she's laying in the bed and she tells Dr. Venkman before the gatekeeper comes, because he first of all he knocks on the door. She goes, "Are you the gatekeeper?" He goes, "No," and she closes the door. He knocks again. "Are you the keykeeper?" "Yes."
Yeah. Such a creep. Such a creep.
So the lines she says, she goes, we have to, I want you inside of me, all the stuff like that. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I don't remember this. So then, they say that part and they kind of move it along, and he tranquilizes her and she's out sleeping. So when the gatekeeper comes, Rick Moranis' character comes, and they meet up to each other, I'm like, does that mean they have to do that for Gozer to come? And I'm like, they don't ever say anything or insinuate or anything like that.
Oh,
and
they
go up the
insinuate.
staircase. Wait, so they do insinuate it, because when they go back to them, they're on top of the pillar and his pants are undone.
His shirt is untucked.
I was like,
and she's just like laying there, all satisfied.
And I'm like, I never realized that before. That's just crazy to me. Oh man. But anyway, man, one of my favorite scenes of this movie, man, is gonna be the way that they interact with each other, as far as like even Al was saying that the Hotel Sedgwick scene, where they were going to go see this, to go find Slimer on, I believe it was the 5th floor or the 12th floor, one of the floors. Anyway, before they get on the elevator, there's a guy standing there and he sees the proton packs on them and stuff like that. So he goes, "Where you guys going?" He goes, "Whatever floor they're going." He goes, "What are you guys?" He's like, "Exterminators." He must be a big cockroach. He goes, "Yeah, bite your head off, man." And it's funny because I remember, because when I lived in the Bronx, we used to, have to go to an elevator, go to our apartment building and everything. And I remember saying that to people. I would just look at them and go, "Big cockroach, bite your head off, man." And my father would be like, "Stop saying that to people." Like, so it brought back crazy memories. But the funny thing to me was, that was the first time that they had the proton packs on going up that elevator, and Ray goes, "We have a nuclear reactor kind of thing in the back of them." So he goes, "Turn me on, Egon." Egon turns it on. You hear the charge, and then you see Egon pushing Venkman to the side to walk away from him a little bit. Funny stuff like that, man. But more funny stuff is the way that every time like something bad's happened, they're like, "We should do this. We should all do this." "Ray, go do it." Like one of the scenes when they get up to the top of the tower there is, of course, what's the lady's name? Brandy, you had said it before.
I was like Dana Barrett.
No. I'm sorry. The not Gozer, but
Zool.
Zool is the female that's first up, that she comes up downstairs in all white and stuff, and they're standing there. She's standing there looking all crazy, and then they got the 2 demon dogs or whatever on the sides, and they're like, "We got to go up to her. Let's talk to her. Say what's up. Ray, go get her." And Ray's being all nice and sweet, talking about you have to back up and get back inside where you came from and all this stuff like that. And she goes, "Are you a god?" And he looks back at Venkman, and Venkman's like, "Yeah," without saying words, he's like, "Definitely, let's say that." And of course, Ray, be the good guy he is, he goes, "No." And then you get the famous "then die," and the electric shoots. And then my favorite man, Zedmore, Winston, goes, "Ray, when someone asks if you're a god, you say yes." So now, this is a question I have for all 3 of you guys, man. Did they ever like? Because like I said, I just watched it. I didn't see it. What was the reason they said all this stuff was happening in the first place? Just cause, or right?
Yeah,
It's just
remember.
because there's ghosts in New York.
There was an
'Cause
uptick in paranormal activity. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's,
that's it.
Just like a
'Cause
lot of movies back then, it just was a matter of convenience that they happened to be studying this right at a time when a freaking ghost demon, paired up. Yeah.
yeah, man, it's crazy, man.
Ghost? Zool? Ghoster?
Yeah, man. But it's funny, man. Like we said, this movie is an older movie, but I watched it and it felt like a movie you could make today and I could watch today because it just flowed and it was really good and I got like into it and everything. It was just great to watch. And one of the scenes that stood out to me was towards the end there is when they're going to the building after they got arrested, right? So, they said that this thing is going on there. It's all headed towards the building that Dana lives in and Rick Moranis live in. So they there and there's a crowd there chanting Ghostbusters and you get saving the day. It's just very upbeat, just crazy good. And then I think it is what the earth cracks, Sanj?
I was just gonna say that. And then so it's like the big hype moment. They show up, they're gonna save the day. Then the ground literally comes out from under them, and they get swallowed in a sinkhole. And then the whole crowd's like, "Oh shit, are they dead? Like these are the only guys that can save us, and they're dead."
Yeah,
and then
man.
they like come back up, and the crowd's like, "Yeah!"
Yeah, so crazy, man.
Yeah.
And so let's get to the end of this movie here, where we get to the top of the building, Al. So tell me, man, talk to me about what Zool asked Ray and what happens, man.
Wait. I'm drawing a blank on this part. What was the
So they're all
So-
up there, right? And
Yeah.
then they try to fight Zool, and they're unsuccessful, of course. And then they get to choose. Then they're told to choose the form.
Form of the Destructor.
Yeah, right. And then like the whole thing. Remember when they first introduced the proton packs, right? Was that be careful, don't
you can't
cross the street.
streams? Yeah.
Don't cross the stream because they're like it'll everything will just go side. It'll kill everybody, right?
Right.
So then nothing they're doing is having an effect, right? And then of course they're like, I think it was Stance that said to Venkman, he's like, Venkman, cross the lines. Or no, or Egon said it. I can't. It's
Egon.
probably Egon that said it because he was the smart one. Whatever. But you said don't cross the lines. He's like, cross the lines. And then they unite, their proton beams, and that's what's enough to take out, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, man. And I mean, Brandon, talk to me, man. Stay Puff, man.
That was just great. Like the second, what did it goes to say? Like the form has been chosen, and then he turns into the Stay Puft. That was like the best thing to ever happen. Like the fact that like. I don't know when you think about that moment, how like no one's like, yo, don't think, right? And then like the one thing that happened is like the giant marshmallow. I'm thinking in that situation, if I'm trying not to think, I'm thinking the worst thing possible. Like this thing with 7 heads, like can fly. Like I'm thinking the worst thing. And of course, Dan Aykroyd Ray thinks of Stay Puft, the mascot from his childhood. Come on.
Hey, it was the one thing he thought that could not do harm.
But the thing that got me with that scene was the fact that as soon as they said something was picked, they all looked at him like they knew he was the one.
No, they were like, "Did you pick
like,
something? No.
no,
Did you
no.
pick something? No."
Ray.
Oh man, just crazy, man. Yeah.
And he had that guilty look on his face too, like just the acting. Like those guys, like those guys just understand comedy so well, and they deliver like at the right moment every time. They just understand how to do it.
Absolutely, man. And then listen, man, let's go right into Ghostbusters 2 really quick and kind of because again,
real quick.
real quick, because we don't want to destroy the vibe, man.
Just don't kill my vibe.
Yeah. I mean, Al, what is your memories of Ghostbusters 2? Or like what do you recall the story being pretty much for it?
I just remember the story being that there was so much anger. I think in New York they were trying to play on the anger, and the anger was feeding Vigo,
Vigo,
and that was manifesting into the spirit coming out of the painting and so forth, and
something with the slime, right? There was like some slime or sludge.
Yeah, there was like some slime invading New York. It was invading the apartment.
There's a river running
negative
under
emotions.
New York.
Yeah, it was feeding off negative emotions.
So it was just feeding off it would feed off the emotions of the city, and just the city just happened to be like a mean, nasty, place, and it was feeding off of all that. But as we saw by the end of the movie, you could reverse all that by feeding it positive emotions.
I can't believe they supplied the sludge.
Now, was the kid? This is where I'm at a loss. Was the kid the kid wasn't
Venkman's? No,
right?
No, because they so Venkman and Dana Barrett, they kind of explained, they were dating, and then they broke up because Peter wouldn't commit. Venkman wouldn't commit because he was like, well, you should have married me, and she's like, well, you never asked. He's like, yeah, but you should have just known. Like he was doing this like his stupid Venkman shit, right? So it was like they were dating, and he was taking too long, and she had to move on. And then she had a kid with somebody else, and then got married and had a kid, and that didn't work out. So now he gets her on the rebound.
Yeah, it's funny because she actually says in the beginning, because this is the part that I was awake for, was she's just like, I was thinking about reaching out to him, but then I didn't do it. And I was like, oh, okay, hints to the rekindling. Yeah, but I mean, the most I really remember the movie is again this whole painting thing, which is I think where they went wrong with the movie. They should have made it something a little bit more metaphysical, or not a painting. I think that's kind of like killed it for everybody. But if I remember correctly, the painting kind of like hypnotized. I can't remember the guy's name. The guy he took.
It was
Janos.
Janos.
Yes.
Yeah, Janos. Peter McNichol is the actor. That's his.
Yeah. And he had the funny accent, and everything he said was funny.
But why are you came?
We gonna love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gonna love you.
Oh, man. Oh, it's too crazy, man. And I think the most that I remember from this movie, if I'm correct, Sanj, is that to kind of like finish off Vigo from coming out of the painting, they hit it with the sludge, the positivity, the Statue of Liberty torch, and some proton.
Yes, and Jackie Wilson.
Jackie.
So I mean, like,
and then he spiraled into oblivion.
Yeah.
Him and his river of negative emotions.
Is there anything in part 2, Sanj, that really like stood out for you besides the friendship and the family of it, or just a good story and that's pretty much it?
I mean, look, you get to see Ecto 1, the familiar things from part 1 that you really, all the familiar things that you really love about it. Hearing the sounds like when Ecto 1's pulling up, wah, 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 like all. It's annoying as fuck, but
that sounded exactly like it.
Yeah. Yeah, just seeing the characters again. Like I for some reason, it just all worked really well seeing them together.
Absolutely, man. And Brandon, anything for you part 2 stood out?
Honestly, every time the movie's on like TNT, it always is at the end of the movie when they're in the museum and everything like that. And I just remember like my favorite part was just Vigo's big ass forehead starting to bust out of the painting, and I just always watch that scene like, why? Why was that the choice? Why did that have to happen? But it was just always funny because it was always like the front part of his temple always popped out first. It was like, oh. It was like,
It was like bubbling up out of the painting.
Yeah, it was disturbing. I didn't like that. But I always see that scene and I always remember, I'm like, oh my God, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, man. How about you, Al?
For me, honestly, if ironically, like for the first one, I said I didn't remember any of the songs, just the movie. With this one, I remember Bobby Brown's soundtrack song for it more than I do the actual
Wow,
movie.
that's awesome, man.
Well, I guess
Yeah, and the fact that like back then, like you watched music videos, like MTV was big at the time and so forth, and I think I remember more scenes of the movie from watching the video for the soundtrack than I remember from actually watching the movie itself.
Gotcha, man. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's most the iconic part of this of Ghostbusters 2, of course, is when they slime up the Statue of Liberty, because there's nothing more positive than Lady Liberty walking down the streets. You know what I mean? So that's probably the biggest part for me. That's always going to be memorable. You know, with Ray and Winston on the top there. Well, actually, all four of them were on the top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, man. That's pretty much for Ghostbusters 2, man. Because I don't know. You just got to watch it, man, and just appreciate the Ghostbusters being together on the screen again. So that's pretty much it for that one there. And, you know, and like we kind of had said already, the Ghostbusters that came out most recently with the female version of the Ghostbusters there, you know, doesn't really have anything to do with the continuity, because it's its own separate thing and its own universe kind of thing, because those original Ghostbusters didn't exist in that movie. So we're going to kind of skip over it. We didn't really have much too good to say about the movie, because I thought it was just
I think
okay.
I've always said they missed a real opportunity with that movie. You know, I wanted to, you know, I gave it a shot, and I really, you know, since they really made a chance, you know, an effort to have an all-female lead cast and whatever, but they really, and I thought it could have been a good thing, because
Me too, yeah.
but where they missed the opportunity was all you had to do was make them the daughters of the original Ghostbusters. That's all you had to do, and you could have had the same shitty story. And just, but the point is that they're the daughters, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, they had an opportunity there, man. I think we all went and watched it. It wasn't like we were like,
we all went to the theaters to watch it.
Yeah.
We paid money.
But I think it was, honestly, I think it was that movie and the reaction to the movie, as strong as it was, that made this movie. In my opinion, I think that's what allowed for Afterlife to become a possibility. Was that these guys were able to see that there was still that much of a strong interest in the franchise.
Yeah, man, definitely. And just like now we're gonna like start making our segue to our expectations for Afterlife and everything about it. You know, what does it mean to you, Brandon? Like, does it mean anything to you that the director's son of Ghostbusters 1 and 2 is the person that's doing this movie, who's doing the directing? Is there more of a connection to it, a better feel for it? What's your thoughts with that?
Yeah, you know, actually, I was going to bring this up, and the fact that, you know, that Jason Reitman is taking this over from Ivan Reitman, his father, and it's just like, I think because it's his father, this means more. You know, that appreciation of his father's work is what's going to lead the success of this movie. And I think, to be honest, you know, when you hear about the reviews of this movie and the fan service that's in there, it's kind of like this movie is an homage to what his father did. And I really respect that. So I think this movie is going to stand on its own, but stand as like a remembrance of, like, you know, the Ghostbusters that came before it, because it was his father's movie. So like, this was his dedication to his father, but also to a franchise. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, Sanj, I've been telling people on the podcast the last couple of weeks that you are all about this movie coming up, man. Every time the preview comes up in the movie theaters, you lose your shit, dude.
Yep. Absolutely. So to piggyback on what Brandon was saying about, you know, Jason Reitman picking up for Ivan Reitman, right? You add a little something to it when, you know, you're continuing the family name or the family tradition or whatever. And this is one of, you know, Ivan Reitman is, you know, he's well known for, you know, his work, but this is one of those that it's like a signature piece. Like, even though it's not like, you know, some groundbreaking movie or whatever, it's synonymous with his name. It's very much associated with his name. And so you don't, if anything, you don't want to fuck up the family name. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And I really like the fact that his son is the one directing. It means that he's going to make it with love. You know what I'm saying? And especially the fact that, you know, they're doing a lot of fan service, and the story kind of centers around Egon's family, I think it's great that they chose to go that route when trying to tell the story, because Harold Ramis is no longer with us. So, you know, the fact that he passed away, you know, we're sad about it. We have a lot of love for him as an actor. We have a lot of love for his character, right? Mm-hmm. And now we're going to be getting a deeper look into Egon's life, maybe pre-Ghostbusters, post-Ghostbusters, and then now we get to see his family, and then it kind of looks like the rest of the Ghostbusters are going to show up.
Yeah.
Right? Because in the final trailer, like we got Dan Aykroyd early on in like the first trailer, right? Mm-hmm. So we knew they didn't show his face, obviously, but you know, we knew that was his voice. You know, that was his, you know, his bookstore. Mm-hmm. In the final trailer there, that was Bill Murray's voice.
That was Vic Minish.
He was standing with two other Ghostbusters.
And he says, right? You missed us, huh?
You missed us, huh? Right? So I'll be really upset if they don't include Ernie Hudson in this. If they include Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray, and they do not include Ernie Hudson, I'll be really upset. Because I don't think Ernie Hudson gets enough credit for his role in Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I am so ready for Ghostbusters. I cannot wait.
Yeah, man. And Al, man, I know a lot of times when we talk about doing fan service and stuff, you're always like a little bit weary on that because you don't want them to go too much into fan service. So what's your thoughts so far with the trailers and everything that you've seen? You're looking forward to all this stuff.
Yeah. Only because, you know, to your point with asking Brandon about it, since he wasn't really of an age to appreciate it the way we would, because, you know, we were, I mean, at an age where we were the demographic that they were targeting, other than young adults. You know, they were going after kids with this movie. So, you know, to target us as now adults by bringing back the original crew and doing it, it sounds like with a little nod to their style of comedy, while the theme of the movie seems to be more towards how the modern generation would want it. Because you have the girl hanging out the side of the car, controlling a remote control car. Like,
I like that they put that the trap. On a robot. Basically, it's a little robotic trap now.
Yeah, so we have a nod to the old school while introducing a new updated version of it with the new generation. So I like that it looks like they're giving the fan service to keep us interested, but merging it with a new version, which is like what Sanjay was saying earlier, what they had the potential to do with the last one. Yeah, so I'm glad that they're now doing it, and it looks like they're doing it in a good way. Plus, you're bringing in Paul Rudd, who to me is going to probably be us for the movie. Saying what the hell's going on,
and that's a perfect casting. Casting.
Yeah. Sexiest man alive.
He has the comedy chops for it. So he also can do serious as well.
Dude, I saw that cover today, dude. I was at Target with the kids. I was like, sexiest man alive, Paul Rudd.
Because he doesn't age. You don't age.
Motherfuckers passed up Chris Hemsworth. Freaking
Ryan Reynolds again. They could have went with, you know.
Elba. Jesus, Chris Rudd.
Paul Rudd.
I got Hemsworth on the
mind. COVID hit people hard. They had to lighten it up. You know, let's just say that's what happened, right?
Perfect. So, like, the next question I have for you guys, like, Al, man, with the trailers, I feel like for once going into a movie, I don't know what the fuck is happening. Yeah. I don't know who the bad guy is. I don't know what the main villain is. I don't know really what's happening. There's a bunch of kids I've never seen before. I don't know who they are, except, you know, you get, like Sanjay said, you get the story that it's Egon's grandchildren or a daughter that's moving into this new home. But other than that, Al, what do you got?
Nothing. And that's where it plays on the nostalgia, like you said. There's nothing drawing people to this movie other than the nostalgia and the memory of that first movie. That's it, and that's all they need. And I like that they did that with the trailers. They didn't do anything in terms of ruining the story for you. They just said basically it's Ghostbusters, and that's all they have to say. And give us the little hints, unlike what they're doing with Spider-Man. Give us little hints that you guys are going to be in this movie. Come watch it.
Brandon, I saw you giving the hallelujah signs to the trailer's not revealing much.
That's it. That's all I asked for. You know, we talk about this all the time. And like this movie highlights it. We've been seeing this one trailer for what, 4 or 5 months now? And you're still excited to see the movie. You have no idea what's going to happen, but you're so excited. You know, like this trailer literally did nothing. It showed you like 2 cool shots, you know, like just a big ass dog, you know, ghost dog breaking out of a pet store where Paul Rudd is. And then the Ecto-1 driving down with the Robo Ecto-1 with the girl out the window. Like 2 really cool shots and nothing else. And like, you're pumped to see this for 5 months, you know, and like, Al, you said it. I didn't want to know a single thing about Spider-Man. But every other week now, the closer we're getting, the more I'm finding things out that I'd rather have waited to see on the screen and been so excited to see it. It would have blew my mind to see some of these things that I know now. And like, I'm robbed of that. But now going into Ghostbusters, I know 0 things. So when something cool happens in there, like if Rick Moranis just shows up out of nowhere and does something stupid, I'm excited because I didn't know Rick Moranis was going to be in this. You know, like, it's that. Yeah. You know, if more movies follow this format, like, even though it wasn't done well, that Kevin Bacon movie that had a trailer the day before it came out, it hyped us up. And we watched it, and it was a shitty movie, but holy shit, like, you know, it was a shitty movie. But, like, you were hyped a day before the movie came out off of one little trailer. Like, I kind of prefer if everything did what Ghostbusters did, or just like, yo, movie comes out tomorrow, check this trailer out. Like, I'll see it. I don't need to know that Marvel movies come out November 5th, February 17th, May 23rd. I don't need to know that. Just send me a trailer and I'll be in the movie theater the next day. Like, that's it.
Yeah, man. How about you, Sans? Like I said, Sans, you love this trailer, dude. Every time you see it, you lose it. So
it's just exactly what you said. I seeing that one trailer, it got me hyped. I lost my shit every single time that I saw that one trailer. For 5 months, because it's brilliant marketing. It is brilliant marketing because just off of that nostalgia, not only are they going to get everybody that are Ghostbuster fans, everybody that's Ghostbuster fans that has at least a child, right, or all their kids or whatever, they're going to snatch up all their children and they're going to bring them to the theater to watch Ghostbusters with them because it's going to be something that people want to share with their kids. You know, it's brilliant marketing.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. Because after we hang up on this thing here, I'm gonna go watch and finish off Ghostbusters 2. I'm definitely gonna watch it, man. But I am again looking forward to this movie. Again, don't know. I mean, you hear rumors that Zool is back in this movie, but I don't know for sure. No one knows for sure, right? I mean, I seen the Demon Dogs. They look a lot better than the first one. You know what I mean? but that's about it, man. And Stay Puft, the little Stay Puffs. I can't wait to see those.
Those are so cute.
Other than that, I got nothing for you. So, man, we're looking forward to seeing this movie this Thursday, man, and can't wait to watch it. And then, of course, I can't personally wait to talk to these 3 fellas right here next week, reviewing the movie, saying what we love, what we didn't like.
I am off on Thursday, so we are going to see Ghostbusters on Thursday.
Yeah, man. Can't wait for that, man. So listen, guys.
I'm
just excited. Yeah, guys, man. So listen. Are you guys interested in Ghostbusters? Are you guys can't wait and hyped up as we are to see Ghostbusters? Please comment below on the YouTube page. Let us know what you're thinking. If you don't have us on the YouTube and you're listening to us on a podcast, please email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. Let us know what you think and what you're waiting for to see on Ghostbusters Afterlife coming out this Thursday. Guys, this is us from Long Island, New York. We are the Real Fan Review, talking movies every week. We got my man Sanj.
As always, everybody, good evening and be safe out there.
We got my brother B.
Adios, everybody.
We got the man in the chair, Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yes, and myself, Hob, saying, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening to us. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the podcast playlist plus button to make sure that we come up for you guys every week whenever we put out a podcast or a video. So, again, coming from Long Island, New York, guys, we'll be back next week with the Ghostbusters Afterlife review. We're going to have spoilers and non-spoilers. We'll catch you on the next episode, people. Till next time.